Here we go. Time for another sprint zone. This one's for 7:30, and it's a nice Tuesday, and it's a pretty decent crew. The crowd has been a little bit smaller recently in the last couple of weeks, and I have been loving it. It's much more manageable, and we don't have to wait as long to get around the corner before the melee will start. Looking ahead there, Mike and I were leading the patrol here up to the sprint zone. A lot of people were getting a little rammy, and this is supposed to be the warm-up zone where we get our things together, and I'm glad that Mike and I are controlling this at a reasonable pace. A good look there at Joel in the green, training for the Steamboat Gravel Race in a couple of weeks, and of course to his left, the legendary Dr. JC, who has been dominating a lot of these sprint zones in recent weeks. Looking back, we see Jonathan, John, and a host of the other people, sometimes known as NPCs. So around the corner, and once again, I'd like to thank Scott Pollia for his video and telemetry. As always, it is nice to have, and I come off the front. JC up at the front, keeping a good tempo, and everybody seems like they are just kind of trying to hold back because they want a position with lots more draft. A decent crew up here. Not a lot of folks that like to go to the front, and we'll see that later as people get stuck out in the front and no really one wants to work. Got Michael there in the orange, got Scott there in that nice kit. I love that red, white, and blue. Danny struggling a little bit, standing up to keep the pace, and we can see my instantaneous wattage was in the 300s, and we know what that was. Rearwards once again, and this is a nice group. Like normally, I like the 2x2, handlebar to handlebar, which is right. And that's a little bit different than the pack riding, where a lot of the riders that are just used to hanging on sore and war, they want to overlap wheels as if it is a race because they're just trying to hang on. But when you don't need to hang on, I see no need for that overlap wheel stuff, and I will be chastising people for it in future rides. One of my pet peeves. Anyway, back to the front, JC, not shy, and he has taken a page out of the Byron Besserell book, going to the front early and driving the pace hard. Everybody in tow, and they are strung out. Nice little video of me up in the upper right-hand corner, and I am just a little bit tired from the Laramie Enduro one and done that I did the previous Sunday. I'm not quite recovered, so I want to be reasonably close, but not super close. Scott looking strong there, Jonathan looking strong there, and newcomer from the Trek store, Chris in the bright pink, making his debut. JC once again, and I probably should have gotten his numbers, but I'm just embarrassed to keep asking, and everyone knows how strong he is, but maybe next time. And JC is continuing to drive, and we can look at the map, and you see we're just going around the lake, which means JC has been out there for at about a mile, not asking for any help. And you can see how easy it is sitting in. My 30-second, only 70 watts. Scott's only like 90. And I'm okay with this because I'm trying to recover from the racing weekend, and going hard doesn't help. I probably shouldn't even be out here going that hard, but it's fun. So it doesn't matter if it's good for training or not, it's fun. John in front of me doing the pedal coast, trying to keep tight, and he looks like he is starting to swing just a tiny bit. And I'm keeping an eye on him because I know at some point he is going to gap me and I need to be around him. Still at the front, JC, and no one has gone around yet. And JC and I had a conversation later on that no one wanted to go around. And this is something that people get lazy. They rely on the supers. Yes, JC, I'm putting you in that category of being a super. And you need to really slow down, wiggle the elbow to make these people come around. There's no dishonor in slowing down and making people do their fair share. And you can see there has been no selection yet. And there are lots of people back there that are just riding coattails. Curtis Jensen back on the red, notorious for not showing his face into the wind until later on. And way, way, way back on the yellow, OG Ron Kennedy, who has come back into the fold after, probably 6-7 years, representing the breakaway group out of Loveland, along with Jim Allman, who is not here this weekend. And here we go, still out front, and it's been almost 2 miles. And it'll be 2 miles when we come to that next intersection. Jay still willing to do the work, and no one willing to do anything at this point. Scott, a strong man riding coattails. And this is part of what happens when you get people that are close to the front that just want to ride coattails. They're not willing to stick their nose into the wind unless they have to. And, well, it's okay. It's the sprint zone. You can do whatever you want, but I'm not certain it's in the spirit that I would like to see the melee continue in. There we go. Ron Kennedy in the yellow, making his way up the windward side. Curtis in the red, still behind him. Looks like Greg Kuchta hanging on, and Mike Weeder bringing up the rear for this final selection. Got Danny there in the white and black kit, moving up alongside John, as this little inflection point in the road is where the brakes can be made. And you'll see this now that my instantaneous power up over 300. I expect it to get over 4, but not this time. And JC finally pulls over a little bit. People still not wanting to go around. And it's been over 2 miles. So at this point, I have to go around John. He's taking a drink in the middle of the pack. Not certain how I trust him to do that because I don't want to crash. Yeah, I know he's raced for a long time, but still, it just sets off my spidey senses. Now I'm moving close to the front, and finally, Joel has cajoled into going to the front, and maybe we're going to get a little bit of a rotation here. And there goes Daniel. Coat sitting for a while, and he makes the attack. And at this point, I would have let people go. And in fact, I said, people, let them go. Newcomer Chris goes, because I know they're not going to be long for this earth. But you can't contain people. And you've got Ron Kennedy going after him. And I'm like, okay, I can't let Ron and Daniel and Chris be up the road. That's just too strong, regardless if JC is back here to help us or not. So now my power is up there, 30-second power in the 280s just to stay on Ron's wheel as we keep the 2 in check. And it looks like they are kind of looking back side by side, not really working together. It looks like I'm not certain what's going on. But maybe Chris is up there, but they're not riding in formation. Like, what is with that? Like, I don't know. We need to go back to 051, like, racing. And yet, and when you're in college, the 0 means remedial. Not even a 101 course. That is remedial because you always want to be sitting on the wheel of somebody. Anyway, I take over for Ron reluctantly because no one else wants to take up the mantle. And there they are, somewhat organized, and we are bringing them back. Instantaneous power for me in the 370s. And this is really all I have because I was trying to recover from the weekend, like I said. And here we catch them, and they sit up. I've never seen this in the sprint. Just sit up. Stop pedaling when at the front. Daniel waves people through. I'm like, WTF? You don't wave people through when you're at the front. You made an attack, and now you want people to come through? That is an insult to the people. Anyway, so I'm up at the front now, and I'm not soft pedaling, but I'm not working hard because that was a lot of work. There are too many people back here that have done too little that need to come to the front and do something. And now finally, Ron taking over again, not shy from seeing the pointy end of the stick. And there goes Danny trying to get and work into the rotation there. It took a lot of effort. It was all he could do to get around Ron. I'm going to slide back here, and here we go, guys. Chance to look at some of the NPCs. Not calling out names here. You can see what they were doing. You know who they are. Now I'm trying to get myself some shelter here, but still my 30-second power above 230, which is quite a bit above my FTP. And I just need to recover. My heart rate in the 170s, 172. Yeah, so I am like at threshold or above and just need to try to recover here. Things seem pretty calm for the most part. JC at the front again, and you can see him in the upper right-hand corner, not afraid to do work. And there goes Greg attacking. And this is where the camera does some weird stuff, but it doesn't really matter. Looking up in the upper right, Scott is drilling it, and we have his power 700 watts, and his 30-second power, it looks like it's going to get above 600, and this shatters the field here. Looking rearward, there goes Danny and Daniel and John off the back there. And I am sort of in no man's land at this point. Clear skies for Scott up at the front here. And it looks like he may take this one. But no, the legend JC comes to the front again. And none of the attackers, newcomer Chris, is unable to match the might of JC. Well done. I enjoyed that one. Wish I had a little more strength to be able to have been next to that one, but I'm glad Scott had his camera there. Yeah, that was pretty good. Except for that sitting up part. Like I said, this is the first time anybody's done that. Just sat up, waiting for people to come. You at least want to keep your head somewhat down. Throw a little pressure on the pedals. You know, that's like the rabbits. We pay rabbits in these races, like the running races, to keep a pace. And then they just drop out. I don't know. But it's a sprint zone. You can do whatever you want. Just my opinion. Anyway, a good time was had by everyone. Until next time, peace out. Yeah, we'll just ramble here. Ramble. And yeah, here I am. It's cool. I figure at some point I should use the features of this thing and check out the camera. So there I am. You can see what I look like. What it looks like when I do this thing. And, well, that's it for that. Until next time, everybody, peace out.